Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's top advisor, Mykhailo Podolyak, labeled the prospect of negotiating a peace deal with Russia as tantamount to making a deal with the devil. Podolyak's comments underscore the hardline stance within Zelensky's administration against any form of negotiation with Moscow amidst the ongoing conflict.
If you want to sign an agreement with the devil, who will then drive you to hell, please, this is Russia. Everything you sign today with Russia, which will not lose the war and will not bear legal responsibility for mass crimes. Well, I mean that you have signed a ticket for the continuation of the war on a different scale, with other sides involved, with a different number of killed and murdered people. I just want the political elites to realize this.
Podolyak warned that a peace agreement with Russia would merely serve to delay further violence, suggesting that such a deal would give Russian President Vladimir Putin the time needed to bolster his military forces and potentially intensify the conflict. According to Podolyak, any agreement made at this juncture would not address the root causes of the conflict and would likely lead to a more severe and protracted confrontation. The advisor's remarks come as Kyiv faces mounting pressure from Western allies to consider peace negotiations, despite continued hostilities on the front lines and significant war fatigue among the Ukrainian populace. Recent polling data indicates a growing number of Ukrainians are opposed to making territorial concessions to Russia, reflecting a hardening public sentiment against compromising with Moscow. Podolyak's position is supported by President Zelensky's administration, which remains resolute in its refusal to engage in negotiations with Russia unless substantial changes occur. Despite this stance, Zelensky has hinted at the possibility of discussions, suggesting that Russia could be invited to participate in the upcoming Global Peace Summit.
At the second peace summit, if the plan is completely ready, and if Russia is ready to discuss this plan and agree on ending the war, in accordance with the UN Charter, then we will be ready to speak along with our partners, with representatives of Russia. Whether it's Putin or not Putin, what difference does it make? Let's be honest.
As the US presidential election approaches, Ukraine remains attentive to the potential implications for its support from Washington. While Zelensky maintains positive relations with both major US political parties, Podolyak acknowledged concerns over possible shifts in American policy depending on the election outcome.
Trump belongs to politicians with an emotional composition of perception of reality. In order for him to clearly understand this or that problem, he needs to personally immerse himself in it. For example, he talked with the president of Ukraine. Now he looks at the problem of war and peace in Ukraine in a completely different way. If he will be even more immersed, he will come to Ukraine, for example, and talk to a large number of people who have already experienced more than 880 days of war, that is, more than 2 years. He will receive a larger analysis, an emotionally correctly constructed analysis of what modern Russia is. It seems to me that his position will be completely different both in relation to the war in Ukraine and to the Russian Federation.
He stressed that regardless of the election's results, the US is expected to remain a key ally for Ukraine, continuing its military and diplomatic support.
To date, there is absolute bipartisan support in Ukraine at the level of the Republican majority, the minority in the parliament, at the level of the Democratic majority and the minority. The leaders of the Democrats and Republicans clearly state their position on the need for a proper end to this war, on the need to continue supporting Ukraine. And this is the absolutely clear consensus political position of the key parties in the United States. Therefore, regardless of who will be the candidate from this or that party, I emphasize once again that I do not expect changes in relation to Ukraine. The only thing I would like is to speed up the adoption of certain decisions.
Overall, Podolyak's statements reflect a broader reluctance within Ukraine to entertain any immediate peace deals with Russia, emphasizing the need for a more robust and enduring solution to the conflict.